Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Business and Banking Dialogue Show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this very special day and a very special show. This is the 150th show of the Business and Banking Dialogue. A day we all want to rejoice. A year ago, when the COVID virus struck the country, the think tank of UPS, we wanted to do something to contribute to society like the COVID warriors would do. The COVID warriors are all medical people, so obviously we couldn't be there. The idea of BBD was born, a platform to bring the best of finance and payment industry by dialogue and discussion on relevant industry topics. Dissemination of information on relevant topics and giving opportunity to the audience to be part of the discussion. This we thought was our way of contributing to the society. Weeks and months rolled by, and in beginning, this show today, we are the 150th milestone. A big thanks to you, ladies and gentlemen, for our many guests for supporting us in this endeavor. We are grateful. Thank you so much. Today, special event is on India, the next global center of payments innovation. As usual, we are live across YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. I'm KK, moderator for today's show, and our guest for the show is none other than Mr. Vijay Sharma, Chairman and CEO of 197 Communications and its consumer brand, which is very popularly called Paytm. So before I start the dialogue with Mr. Sharma, let's give you a brief about him. So you will see a slide in front of you. He has played a critical role in developing the mobile payments and commerce ecosystem in India. There's no doubt, Paytm is a household name. His goal is to build India's biggest payments, commerce, and financial services conglomerate and the country's first 100 billion company. We wish him all the best. A strong believer in emerging technologies, Vijay founded Paytm in August 2010 and continues to oversee the company's key strategic efforts, including engineering, design, and marketing. He also launched Paytm Payments Bank, right? The RBI had opened for giving limited license to Payments Bank, and Paytm was one of them, and it's also popular in that front, and brought a new business model to the bank, for the world of banking. Vijay has been featured in Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People in 2017. He has a bachelor's degree in electronics and communication from Delhi College of Engineering. Today, he is with us from Delhi. So today, Vijay, जीने का नया तरीका शुरू करो, Paytm करो. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you so much. First of all, so many kind words. Thank you. Really appreciate the EPS team, Mani sir and KK sir, you to invite me here. I mean, I must say that I feel like I'm in the midst of the veterans and the people who have built it. And I stand on the shoulders of giant like yourselves, giant like team here in this call, who has created so much that I can say that we are total beneficiary of what has been attempted in last 10s or 20s of years. Clearly, it is a movement of India's payments. We are more and more seeing that countries are learning a lot from this country, learning from India. I think we just need to be audacious in this country. I mean, it's an amazing moment to be in this history of country's evolution, where things are being formed as a formative year, and the impact that each one of us is able to put is enormous. I mean, 2000, talk about 2000, 2010, talk about 2010, 2020, these 2 decades have been amazing, phenomenal, because technology spread out like no one in these 20 years. Every consumer is now expected to be carrying a technology device. Earlier, there was a time when carrying a card was called digital payment. While today, now carrying a mobile phone is called digital payment. Card is called dumb device because it does not carry a network and a processor. So it's interesting how things have happened. So proud to be part of this, and thank you so much for your kind words, and glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. So Vijay, your life journey is absolutely inspiring, right from your childhood to where you are today. It was all about, I think, it's all about dreaming, aspiring, and a never die attitude. Tell us to our audience your life journey story in brief.
I think, to be honest about it, I never thought that I will be here because I am an engineering college graduate from Delhi College of Engineering, like you said. Came from Aligarh, and typical 98 college pass out would expect, the family will expect that I would go USA. So instead of choosing USA, I stayed here. This was my one choice that I made. My family clearly wanted me to go USA and have the H1B life, if you will. 99,
Yeah,
2000, remember that when Y2K was the rush. Everybody was ready to
yeah,
go US and was able to go US. My theory was that if everybody goes US, then who would stick around here and who will build for this country? And
okay,
as luck would have had it, I got chance to create a telecom services company in 2001 to 2010, where we built system and technologies for SMS, voice, pre-call, post-call network programming, a lot of work that we could do with telecom operators. And I think in 2010, when smartphone was coming in or 3G was coming in, both things were happening in the world together, as you remember. I thought that our business, which is dependent on telecom operators' belief that how should it be and they should be the service delivery to the consumer, that will change now. Smartphones are coming, and smartphone will open up to a direct to consumer technology companies access, and that happened. And one of the business that we thought was that India will build is a payment on the smartphones, that is by pay through mobile, that is by Paytm
yeah,
actually. And 2011 is when I started to build Paytm, pay through mobile. And even though there was no philosophy, logical math of Paytm, because India does not, in India, we do not prefer technology-led solutions over cash currency-led solution. I mean, people prefer cash over technology-led solution. But my theory was that number one, smartphones will make it far easier, and they inevitably will in everybody's pocket. Number one. And number two, if India's economy has to become $2 trillion, $3 trillion, $4 trillion, it cannot continue to remain a cash-led economy. It is inevitably. I mean, so I took these two macros and I said, let's take a bet on the next 10 years to build something called mobile-led payment services. So that is why Paytm. मैं आपको एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग चीज बताता हूँ सर. जब मैंने
हाँ,
Paytm ब्रांड नेम चूज किया, किसी ने लिखा हुआ है इसमें कि हिंदी में भी बोलो, तो इसलिए मैं हिंदी में बोलता हूँ उनके लिए. बहुत ही क्यूट स्टोरी है. जब मैंने ब्रांड नेम Paytm चूज किया, तो बहुत अच्छे ब्रांडिंग एक्सपर्ट और 4-5 लोगों से मैंने मल्टीपल नाम पूछे, तो सबने एक लाइन बोली. उन दिनों में एक और कंपनी थी, इफ यू रिमेंबर, फ्री चार्ज. वो लोग मोबाइल रिचार्ज करते थे, मोबाइल रिचार्ज बेचते थे. तो एक्चुअली मैं, मेरे को लोगों ने मना किया कि Paytm ब्रांड नेम ना बहुत गलत है, इंडिया में लोग फ्री पसंद करते हैं. पे तुमने पहले वर्ड में लगा दिया है. और पोस्ट एंड लुकिंग एट टुडे, इट फील्स लाइक वाओ, व्हाट अ ब्रिलियंट ब्रांड नेम, डिड यू टेक इट फ्रॉम ATM, Paytm? And on that day I was put in doubt that maybe the brand name that I'm choosing may not be the brand name that I should continue with from. And even
yeah,
market had more kind of brand name. So picked it up from those days, like you said. Overall journey gave us opportunity, came for building a payment system. We have no clue whatsoever. No clue whatsoever stands for pure technology company, no regulation skill, no regulatory management skill. And from there, we reached to a milestone where RBI was able to grant a payment bank license. And today I can say very proudly that we understand a lot more about regulation than even a traditional company which is regulatory led would know. So yes, the journey has been very fulfilling, and journey has been very, I would say, evolving. We've always lived on first principle that if it is good for customer, if it is good for society, it will be good for everyone. So that philosophy has carried us forward.
excellent. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's you may have already started thinking of questions. So I would give opportunity to start putting questions, but let me get on with them first. So, India has surpassed China to emerge as the global leader in real-time payments with as much as 25.5 billion transactions. As per estimates, by the year 2025, India's overall digital payments will be at an annual growth rate of about 72%, which will be higher than all the nations across the globe. As we enter the new decade, what are the major areas in the payment value chain where innovation seems to be imminent?
Yeah. First of all, I want to tell you that one of the best surprise that happened in India, and I don't know who was the person behind it or team behind it. One of the best surprise that happened in India is that digital payment and cash movement was priced same. So for a shopkeeper, taking a digital payment is also 0% as much the 100 rupee currency that he takes as a cash. I mean, I can tell you that we were trying offline payments, and in early days there was no UPI, so there was wallet, and then it was always troublesome for shopkeeper to accept any digital mode of payment. I mean, India is a very frugal market and efficient market in terms of giving up on even 1 rupee or 2 rupees, like the case is for debit card or credit card. And it was extremely tough for shopkeepers to be convinced that you should give 1 rupee to me if you're taking digital payment. So somewhere behind the scene, obviously the wallet, the UPI, the digital payment, the card, the POS, everything happened. The biggest force multiplier that surprisingly for India, the volume has happened is that it is zero price. The money transfer is zero, whether now it is in wallet, whether now it is in UPI, whether now it is in IMPS or NEFT. That I think is unprecedented when you look at rest of the world. When you look at the growth drivers now, what next will be? I believe the biggest growth driver that will be is the funding source evolution. Meaning right now, we are either paying from a bank account or from a wallet. Are we able to pay from a credit? Are we able to pay from a wealth account? Are we able to pay from a fixed deposit? Are we able to pay from some other asset class? And that, I think, is a revolution waiting to happen in next 2-3 years, because pay later products, the classic credit card equivalent made on the mobile phone, that you are paying me using a credit on the spot, and then you would give credit settlement at the month end, is going to go through a roof growth, which is a couple of 100%. And that would drive very big use cases. Second would be that I think the method of communication between the consumer and merchant. So right now, as you see, the phone number was the Paytm started with phone number as a token. You just enter the phone number and you take this token. And then we also built and innovated on QR code. So now I think the age we've seen is that it will go towards more biometric kind of faces. So AEPS is a very good product where there is a thumb, but it'll be easy to go on the shop with a face. So you can go on a shop and you could just enter your phone number, show your face without even phone. So payment will happen without even phone on the counter. So my theory is that there are two immediate innovations that next 2 to 3 years we'll see. One being the funding source, the payment source innovation, and another being the token exchange innovation.
Okay, that's really interesting, because so you're saying that the way that Paytm and perhaps the world is moving is that you walk into a merchant and just put in your phone number and your face, and payment is done. Yeah, so there is no need to scan or anything.
Yeah. The best payment will be when you go on the shop and it says that, let's say you pick up your stuff, then the shopkeeper says, "Is that it, Mr. Kumar?" Yeah. And then you walk out. You do it best when you do it without saying it at all.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That will be the most wonderful thing that will happen.
That pinnacle are we reaching, and smile, just identification, a lot of things. I think the idea is that you're we're living in a technology ether space where my identity and token is available to the system, and easily the exchange can happen in a trusted environment. I mean, this is exactly what magic sort of thing happens when a car goes right on a toll. So the toll says, "Is that it? Are you taking out today?" Yeah, I'll be out. That's it. So exactly the same thing that I'm talking about will happen on an in-person payment, and IoT payments are there, which is, I mean, we've seen in FASTag how well it is needed in the world. I mean, like you would walk into the metro station and you would walk in, that's it, and you walk out, that's it. What kind of tap queue and so on and so forth. Similarly, car tag, which is right now non-real time. I'm sure you know this, sir. that it is not real time. It will become eventually real time. Take the credit, no more blacklist or something. So the seeds of future are seen today. The glimpses of what is happening future, what is going to happen in future is seen today. Consumers are ready and accepting it. It is up to us, the organization and banks and regulators, to actually execute it.
Absolutely. I think the customers are absolutely ready. It's all a matter of bringing it to the market. So just any indication, when are these changes expected? I mean, will come in the market? 2 years, 3 years?
I do believe that, I mean, this is a conflicted party question, because I do believe if the current NUE doesn't do, the new NUEs will do.
So, okay, we won't go there.
Correct.
So we won't go there.
My answer would be that yes, it should happen in the next 2-3 years. Look, the point is we have a momentum on payments. We have a momentum on payments. The country is seeking consumer, merchants, and ecosystems and government and different movements of business workflow are expecting payment innovation. So let's leverage that, make it most of it in next 2 to 3 years. If we do it after 3 or 4 or 5 years, the problem is the momentum will be lost. We are on the moment to reach the pinnacle we should.
Yes, that's correct. Absolutely. Great. So let's move on. I think it's a great opening, and good to know that there are many more things coming up. And this itself was a great thing, that you go to a shop and you pay through the scan. This is a great innovation, and now we're going to go further. Great. So 2 big things have happened. The jam, as we call it, and then Aadhaar and the payments, right? UPI. So Aadhaar and UPI have been acclaimed as a world-class innovation. I think it's also been talked about in the US Congress. There's no doubt about it. So what are your views on the relevance of Aadhaar and UPI in the current decade, which will be characterized by democratic shifts? That's going to happen, policy changes, increased competition levels, and a lot of technology advancements, aggressive technologies in the country. So what can be done to ensure that the digital payments in the country continues to evolve further?
So one of the best things that probably we got done, I remember that Mr. Hota probably wrote this document in RBI of real-time payment system and real-time payment system from a bank account, and that slowly got executed. He brought it to NPCI, IPS got built, and then UPI on top of that got built. So it's incredible. I mean, I cannot say it enough in words that how forward, how advanced the system is. Any developed economy in the world, any, except China, which is incidentally developed, so I'm going to put them away. Any developed economy, whether you are Germany, whether you are United States, Canada, Japan, does not have something like this. Ability to move bank account money from a bank account to another bank account on a real-time basis, on a technology API basis, is an unprecedented growth wheel that got added in India's digital economy in last 10 years. And I think what we must do is that we must make it a lot more open, available, I mean, right now, my only sad part is that UPI has become a playground for 2 companies. Effectively, there are 2 customers it has. While there are more number of customers it should have, it should be more like the dream that it was based on, where we were expecting that a number of companies and number of developers will come and it will be a social infrastructure. Obviously, it is correctly poised towards growth on that direction. Number of initiatives that are being done, number of initiatives of new features that are being deployed. We also need to know that it is bank infrastructure that it rides on. So bank infrastructure weakness is coming up. I mean, we saw a couple of banks that are not able to handle the transaction traffic. So I'd say that if you look at UPI, I'm going to talk about Aadhaar in a bit. If you look at UPI, the system requirement need to go to next level. It should not be that we are saying that, bank need to take care of it. Maybe some piece of software needs to be given to banks as a standard deployment, as a scale deployment. UPI is an amazing customer need, but there is a huge amount of technology advancement that can be done in partnership with the bank, because banks are not technology companies. The customer is a user who's now having app with a high throughput request. while in between is a switch and system from NPCI. Then comes the bank. Eventually, the money is moving from one bank account to other. If the bank is not able to do this well, if the bank is not able to take care of the traffic or the request, it becomes whole system falls apart. Whole system's trust goes away. So somewhere I would say banks need to invest, bank needs to evolve, or the UPI system need to help the banks. Either ways, because we are talking about like right now there are 2 billion plus transactions, and expectation is that it will become 10 billion and 20 billion and 30 billion and over the period. That time, I can tell you the best of the banks will fall apart. I mean, 2x of this, best of the banks will fall apart. Right now, many are falling apart, but next level of growth, another set of people will fall apart. So that actually brings the requirement, like I said, a new NUE or a set of concentration risk avoidance need to be done. So it's what is proven is that bank account to bank account transfer is incredible use case for customers. It needs to be built bottom up for a scale. That's what my summary of what I've said is. Second, Aadhaar. Aadhaar is a blessing for India because we would have never been able to create an identity system that was so scalable. I mean, it is always tough for a country to take an identity system, and it is even tougher for a country of our size, Nook and Kona. And I'd say that video KYC and Aadhaar combination and digital eKYC systems, those are the founding pillars of India's digital or technology-led financial services. So I believe that organizations like us, organizations that are off-built for building to serve customer of today, will leverage these technologies and expand on these technologies, because customers are no more expecting to walk into a branch or a shop, whether for banking, whether for financial needs, whether for insurance, whether for wealth, AMC, whatever that asset class that you look at it. Customers are very happy saying that I'm sitting with my computer or my mobile phone. I seek you to reach to me. You do not ask me to reach to you. And that means that remote KYC, like we talked about Aadhaar and video KYC-led systems, will be the foundation of the future of India's digital financial services.
Yeah, excellent. So, ladies and gentlemen, please go ahead and put in your questions in the Q&A box. Should you want to ask a question directly to Mr. Sharma, you could do that also. Raise your hand and the digital team will help you to put a question to him. Vijay, one of the big things that has happened is the number of transactions that UPI has been able to garner. And this has been also, like I said earlier, it's been something like a talk even in the US Congress. So when, according to you, how soon India can record 1 billion a day, 1 billion transactions a day? And the second part of the question is, what are the various innovations do you foresee across the payments value chain, such as payments acceptance structure, form factors, new cases, etc., that can make this happen? Your thoughts on that?
Oh, 1 billion a day, I believe, will happen 3 to 4 years. And I'm not very conservative or aggressive here, because a lot of the next level of volume of transaction can come. I mean, COVID sort of expanded it, and next sort of transaction will come once every citizen in this country is comfortable with digitization. And I think it's sort of, the innovation dissemination eventually in the world happens through the influencers. So the pioneers, the influencers, the first movers, this sequencing, and then laggers. So pioneers were using systems much earlier. Influencers and first movers are already using it. So I would say that because it is 30 times, the requirement is 30 or 15 times. That's why I'm giving 3 years. And I won't be surprised that if literally before 3 years it completes. The reason I'm so bullish about is because RBI is continuously adding to the momentum. The approach, like you suggested, the number of card devices, number of mobile devices. Today, we just learned, RBI just announced that wallet systems can have access to NEFT RTGS systems. Basically, the point is, surprisingly, a regulator, India is blessed to have a regulator that is leading forward the innovation. It's not lagging behind. RBI is able to bring regulation and guideline much before even the industry is asking for that. We talked about it in P2P, account aggregation. We're talking about it in case of wallet, payment bank, all those things. It's surprising. I mean, a regulator works like a very executive in this case. And I think the kind of new opportunities that are opening out. So I would say that a competition between NUEs or the large networks would be a good starting point of scaling to a next milestone. So while the payment acceptance infrastructure, payment scale of payment acceptance, reaching out to nook and corner of the country, those things will continue to happen. UPI brought, or I'd say the general banking system, getting these systems like APS, UPI, star 9 and hash, all those things that NPCI brought, they brought banks to innovate and offer these services to the customers. Now we are going to the next level where we can say that NUE itself can build another example. So I'm going to say that, and it's timely. RBI has thought about it. It's timely that it is bringing in another NUE in this case. And my belief is that that would be one of the key trigger point for growth also. So 1 billion a day, not more than 3 years, I'd say. And okay. I'm a hopeful guy. And I'd say that the innovations, like I told you, the face payment, the biometric payment, the token-less payment, all those things will be the ones that will drive it.
Okay. Yeah, you touched upon today's RBI announcement. And so we have already a question on that. I wanted to ask you that question about it, but Balu from USA, Balu M from USA, asked this question. RBI has now provided access to RTGS and NEFT to non-banks also. So, so that's on to the NBFCs. So what would be the impact of this on NUEs?
Well, NUE are supposed to create more methods and more ways to pay. And NEFT RTGS are phenomenally good, and they have particular use case in the world. The idea is that you have fraction payment, small payments, and then you have expanding into approach of, there would be a lot more innovations required. The approach, does it have an impact that RTGS and NEFT are available to non-bank? Answer is that if banks were offering these services to NBFCs and other banks, so to say, I'd say that it is not a concern that one should feel that there is no problem of NUE to it. It's just one of the things that should have got done any which ways. I mean, it's the more the payment platforms are given to others to use, the more we will see the innovations. That's it.
Okay. And also, I thought there was this announcement on the interoperability, right? Of all these, of wallets. Something that I think, is that an interesting news for you?
Yeah, I think what it brings is that now any UPI QR you scan, you can pay using Paytm wallet also. So super cool. I mean, RBI just gifted us, if you will. In my theory, I mean, obviously a lot needs to learn. It allowed companies like us to get acquiring side sorted out at a different scale. Otherwise, the wallet acquisition was an obligation of Paytm QR. So while other QRs are getting deployed, it had to be only scanned on a Paytm QR. Now it can be, you can scan any other QR and then you can have a Paytm wallet. So it's a good development. It's a very good development.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a choice also now.
Yes.
Not Paytm.
I'd say that.
Okay. So let me get to the next thing. So, despite all these path-breaking initiatives and the payment ecosystem that we have, democratizing payments for every individual still looks quite daunting. What are the challenges and opportunities to realize this objective?
I think some person has written in this question answer also that 50 billion is a wishful thinking. Give me use cases. So that is really the fundamental thing here is that what will my point is that the use cases is the critical catch. The payment system and technology is as good as that it serves a use case. So we're talking about utility payments, we're talking about person-to-person payment, offline real-time, offline lagged, offline credit, online. I would say that the use cases are underestimated and the complexities in the use cases underestimated by people before they are knowing the need of what next tens of billion payments are going to come from. I give you an example here. Some of us do this deposit with Tanishq runs a golden harvesting scheme where where they take money every month and sort of 10 month or 11 month and then 12 month they contribute. This is a way women save and then take their jewelry. Now this payment is totally broken today. This payment is broken. And now this payment use case can come. Similarly, asset classes like mutual fund use cases are totally broken. I mean, you cannot invest but from a particular bank account and then you have to give ID of that bank account, penny drop, penny check, a lot of restrictions. My point is that next 50 billion payment to Mr. Balu M's question, Dr. Balu's question, that I believe that next billions of payments will come from use cases that are discarded or overlooked by traditional systems. For example, like give you another example, you go to a college admission fee and you give a draft, right? Bank draft. And that bank draft is returned if you do not get admission. This payment is not sorted out yet. Pre-login is not sorted out. And then similarly, you have to recurring payment are not sorted out yet. I mean, there is a new guideline and so on for a customer benefit, but the problem is not sorted out, I'd say. And all these problems are being sorted out only for a bank account, while the truth will be bank, which is a debit account and a credit account and a wealth account. The payment will be done from 3. So I see opportunity of 10x more for sure. I do see that. I mean, the reason is I've seen it. I mean, thanks to the learning that we've seen it in the other part of the world, there is no doubt about it that this is just the beginning, because this is just a one first payment use case is P2P. Second payment use case is the shop payment. Third is online. Fourth is utilities. All these 4 use cases are the basic use cases. Now, the nuances of all these use cases will go. For example, like imagine a utility payment. Does it require utility payment to be done on a last day of the month? I mean, can the utility company give you the deduction pre-auth, post-auth? I'm sure you know this, the telecom operator have their own credit rating of a customer based on which they give a postpaid bill. In a prepaid, they don't. Now, can they solve this problem of prepaid, which is a large payment system for telecom operators, and the money that they keep in the store, based on that they can give a credit? Now, all this lot is pending to be done. My point is, what we are seeing is that consumer is ready, merchants are ready, lot is pending to be done. So I'm a lot more hopeful for tens of billion extra to be added in the number. That's what my summary is.
Super. So, Vijay, we also have this... either questions come through the Q&A box or through a direct question. So we have a direct question coming to you from Harish. He's our very regular listener. Harish, can you unmute and ask the question?
No, hi Vijay. Obviously, I completely buy your argument that, the use cases for multiple payments, are still not yet scratched fully. So the number of payments will go through the roof. But, coming to, there is always a lag between the fintechs and the banks, right? Where, as you said, the banking infrastructure essentially is sort of lagging. And I remember when IMPS was launched, the banks were insisting on, maybe 50 TPS as the benchmark. And suddenly they realize that it has to be 10 times the, kind of processing capacity and all. But so what is your view on the IoT? When, one of the use cases which you said, right? I mean, apart from that, assuming that IoT will be the future and a whole lot of, and IoT payments can, practically what you call explode in a big way. Do you have any view on how that sort of payment use case can get settled in the current system and maybe in the newer new umbrella entity?
Yep. So Harish, first of all, IoT is, while we are adding number of use cases, the IoT use cases are literally in infancy. I mean, I can say the stage they are in, if there is 100 IoT payments in India are 1, 2, or 3, meaning not even under 5% of the growth. Give you an example, the car payment that happens on a toll is an IoT payment, except that the tag that is created is not possibly taking it from real time. Similarly, you could go parking lot, you could go petrol pump, transit payment are a good example of IoT. Then there will be cases of, like we all know, the devices will be tokens, and I mean, the fridge is going to pay for its electricity and whatnot. So IoT payments will be one of the reasons of M2M payments, and M2M payments are not visibly out there. For example, like TV is not paying for itself right now. Your phone, you go to the phone and then it pays for the utility. Let's say cable TV or a DTH connection. But that is expected. I mean, I would say that you will get devices which will have monthly subscription, and monthly subscriptions or payments will be done by the devices themselves. So you would pre-auth or check and so on and so forth. So IoT payment definitely is missing factor in this channel. Whether it will require a new innovation or a current innovation, the current innovation also is something that is good enough for innovations on IoT. Harish, we created a Soundbox. If you've seen it, Soundbox is a remote push notification service to the merchant, where merchant gets to hear a notification from internet in the device itself. So when you pay, it speaks the money amount, and the payment detail is spoken, and that is phenomenally useful for merchants. And that's an example of IoT payment, because you're talking about the payment. This is made to a device that has an internet connected, and it is speaking or doing a reconciliation process by itself. The customer is not opening up a phone. So IoT payment innovations are many. As Paytm, we are invested in it to a level that there is a roadmap of launching new devices every 3 to 4 months. And there is another release that we are getting ready for Diwali days. So IoT is, I would say, one of the places where merchant will also pay for.
Thank you.
It is something that adds to the business that they have. When IMPS was launched, banks were investing 50 TPS benchmark 10, 20 times. It is a real world problem which can be solved. IoT things are that. Yeah, I'm just reading your question. So one thing that is true for all the payment somewhere, and this is something that probably is an opportunity waiting to happen, that right now all transactions go to CBS. And the bank TPS system, bank's transaction processing systems, are not able to handle that. So there will be a lot of queue management and pre and post queuing there. Like you said, that when IMPS was launched, 50 TPS was the benchmark, and now it is 10 to 20 times of that. I can tell you there will be 100 times of that, meaning 500 or even 1000 TPS. And thanks to IMPS being the rail for UPI or other payments, real-time payments. Basically, IMPS is a real-time payment rail. A lot will be done. So somewhere the core banking software needs a scale for handling payment from a bank account as a funding source. We underestimate amount of throughput and features that a account needs. The CBS-led systems were not made for payments. And that is, I think, is a great opportunity for NUEs or anyone that you're talking about right now.
Yeah. So Vijay, when do you expect the first IoT-based payment will happen?
I think, like I told you, the Soundbox, Paytm Soundbox, which is about 1 million merchants right now, is a IoT payment where we are seeing, and then the real-time payment when it comes of the car FASTag payment, they're all IoT payments because you are, as a user, not picking up. So FASTag and Soundbox are the examples of this, except that they are, Soundbox is completely made on real-time basis. FASTag is in a batch process, so it'll convert it to real-time basis. So we are seeing some examples, but not enough.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Narendra Mayor Padi. Let me thank Harish. Harish, thank you very much. Narendra Mayor Padi asked a question. What is your view with RBI asking for bids for NUE for retail payment system infrastructure? Also, there are foreign players in the payment space. What is your view on safety and security from these players?
So, first of all, I believe that the competition in NUE is a necessary because there is a concentration risk that has happened again, because a single NUE sort of takes there, and then there is a growth gap. Lot of type of payments need to be created. Like we talked about transit payment, like we talked about NCMC is not yet launched in this country. I mean, there's no single, remember the National Urban Mobility Card that has been the dream for long, that has not been done. So a lot has been pending. So my thing is that having at least 2 NUEs, if not 3 or 4, is needed in this country, because like we talked about use cases, there is a lot of use cases that require fundamental system to be bottom-up built. And I believe that will be working out as a system only when we are having multiple NUEs. So my answer to everyone would be, it's a great opportunity. So a lot has been pending. So it's a great opportunity to build a new NUE in this country. So that's my official comment. And we are a conflicted party. We have applied with our friends at EPS.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so true.
Yeah. And next question that you said was that foreign players in payment space. I would say that India needs to be conscious and cognitive of that. We do not let foreign players hijack. We cannot not have foreign players, but we must not let foreign player hijack the agenda and sort of bully us. I mean, RuPay was created as an alternate to the foreign players-led system, and it is very clearly visible that it was very successful, and it is very successful. Similarly, whether you talk about NUEs, I mean, I think the diversity of ownership that RBI has obligated is a good step towards it. So we will need foreign players because of capital and experience, but we must not let the agenda and the purpose and the business or the platform be hijacked by foreign players. That is what I would say.
Okay. And your thoughts on the involving for-profit entities?
For-profit entities, I think it's good to have for-profit entities, because any company that is run for profit will run far and further. With you can cap on the amount of profit that it can make, but for-profit means that you are clearly motivated to build something that is viable in the market. Because ultimately, charity doesn't work. Zero price is not charity and is a full-blown business commercial. So that's not misunderstand that running a zero price business is not for profit. It is also for profit. So I would say for profit is the way to go. It is an obligation of sustainable business, and it just serves everyone together. Obviously, over profits, etc., which I believe, considering these entities will be regulated, so a lot will be done.
Okay, so let's take another question, and let's take a question from the media. Krishna Tripathi of ETV Bharat. Can you please unmute and ask the question?
Vijay, good morning. Good noon. This is Krishna Tripathi from ETV Bharat. I just wanted to know what is happening in case of Paytm app mini store, because there is a lot of talk around self-reliance in these sectors also. Now we have example of Coup and many other things. But in past, our experiments have not succeeded. Baba Ramdev launched Kimbo, Airtel launched Hike, but these were Me Too products. So whether your Paytm app mini store was also some kind of emotional outburst to a particular incident with the Google Play Store, or is there any long-term vision? What is happening in this front?
So first of all, very good question, Tripathi ji. I must say that it may look like that the timing was as if that it was emotional or a reactionary plan, but it actually was in making for last 6 months or more, actually, about a year, I'd say. So Mini App Store is fundamentally a platform which makes an app to a super app, meaning you allow your customers, your traffic to be leveraged by other apps that are riding the same mini app platform that you have. So first of all, it was not literally an emotional, but the timing was such that it came out right timing. I mean, we were waiting for launching it, but it came out as a correct time. The question of success or failure is actually, Tripathi Saab, dependent on the policy that Google is deploying. We are concerned about that Google is forcing 30% payment for any app payment within an app. And that, I think, will be a breaker or maker here. I believe that merchants will be very happy अगर हम उन्हें Paytm का optional payment option दे सकते हैं, जिसमें कि हम उनसे बिल्कुल भी मतलब 30% तो बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा amount है, हमें तो 0% payment लेते हैं वहाँ पे. So we are expecting that the monopolistic approach of Google will not be blocking this creative new innovation of bringing small developers, small businesses to the go-to market, and they will be allowing multiple payment options, not just Google Pay. And that means that they will not take 30% of payment only. They will allow platforms like Paytm and UPI, which are 0% payment for the customers. So if that payment is sorted out, it'll be amazing for transaction platforms. As far as non-payment, non-transaction apps are concerned, we have 15 million users every month, which is a very large number, those. And we are very happy to see that apps are excited to come up on the and get onboarded on the platform. So this is, I mean, in our internal platform systems, anything that crosses 10 million monthly active user is considered as successful. And then we put more resources. So as Paytm, we want to put even more resources on that.
I have a follow-up question. Last month, you announced that the company has started making money. You announced that during the pandemic, you broke even. But now, despite being a pioneer in the payment market, you are behind PhonePe and Google Pay. What is your plan? Whether you will raise more money, how will you beat them? What is your plan?
Problem is that you're not seeing the complete picture, Tripathi ji. What you're seeing is one category of payment called UPI. Paytm has wallet and they don't have wallet. Paytm has minimum 50% more payment than these guys. So we are bigger any day on the payments. These people are, what you numbers that you are seeing are the numbers of only one type of payment. Paytm app, आप जैसा जानते हो, you can use Paytm wallet, UPI लिंक बैंक अकाउंट, Paytm बैंक का बैंक अकाउंट. ये जो 3 यूज केसेस हैं, Paytm बैंक के 60 मिलियन यूजर हैं जिनको की यूपीआई के थ्रू जाने की जरूरत नहीं होती जब वो मर्चेंट को पेमेंट करते हैं. समझ रहे हैं आप? तो हमारे सारे ट्रांजैक्शन यूपीआई सिस्टम से नहीं होते त्रिपाठी जी, इसलिए आपका नंबर फंडामेंटली वो सेम नंबर नहीं है. पेटीएम ऐप से 1.25 बिलियन ट्रांजैक्शंस होते हैं. मतलब फरवरी के महीने में मैंने पब्लिक अनाउंस किया था 1.25 बिलियन ट्रांजैक्शंस पेटीएम के स्टैंड अलोन ऐप से होते हैं.
Thank you very much.
Paytm is actually at least 50% bigger than the competition, I'd say.
Thank you, Tripathi. Good question and excellent clarification from you. Thanks. Thank you very much for that. Bhagesh, why says that last week Facebook commenced QR-based P2P experiment, and in US looks like they are trying to look at the look east policy. Right? And he also goes to add on that additionally, FB still leads issuer instrument like the big 2 card players, whereas India has implemented direct bank account linked payments by scanning QR. You have any thoughts on that? Any views or just an observation?
Yeah, so this is exactly the Tripathi-ji's question also. What India has been able to create is an infrastructure where customers can pay using card, bank account, wallet, net banking, and credit. These many instruments for paying to a QR. What West is purely card. So number one, that is, by the way, Tripathi once again explaining that number of use cases, number of funding sources is the reason that Paytm has large number of transactions. So what Bhagesh is saying is perfectly correct, that the technology companies from West are looking towards East, looking to India, looking to China, looking to Southeast Asia for innovations in app-led technologies. Incidentally, if you notice, the computer was first in East. I would say computer, desktop, internet, everything was something that happened in the West. Sorry, I'm sorry I said East. I should have said West.
Yeah.
But when it happened to smartphone, the smartphone-led business models, as we call them, mobile internet business models, happened to happen in East first. And the reason was that we were not having penetration of desktop computers. So people leapfrog to the smartphone, people leapfrog to the smartphone-led business models. So when the West is seeing what all can smartphone can do, it sees and looks up to the East. So the truth of matter is, in 2000, KK sir, I'm going to give you a quote that I quoted in 2012. I remember I was in a conference in probably in San Francisco. I said, if you want to see what can be done on mobile internet, you don't come to West, you go East. And that is the truths that last decade that we saw, because first device and mass distributed device computing happen in these countries through the smartphone. So that is why the solutions are here. And Bhagesh, obviously, not just Facebook, but others also look up to India and Southeast Asia and China and other countries where the smartphone penetration is there.
Yes, thank you. So we have, obviously Paytm has been a significant market in India, there's no doubt about it. And it's been at the forefront of revolutionizing QR code, basically, and stored value wallets. What is the next big thing that's coming out from the stable of Paytm?
I think, to be honest, there is a lot left to be done in payments. And we again continue to go back to the platform and say that, oh my God, there is so much to be done. So there is like I told you, one of the best thing I can tell you is there is a ton of payment innovation that is happening, use case type innovations, type of payments that we do. Credit payment is one of the big attention that we are doing. So we are partnering with banks, we are partnering with NBFCs that people can pay using credit. That's something that we are a lot of working on. Then we are working on insurance and wealth solutions because, as you know, payment ultimately does not make money. When customers are coming on the app, they can consume the services of banking, wealth, and insurance. So all those things are more like a monetization model. And I'd say that as far as the payment is concerned, there is a lot of cross-border payment is something that we started looking out now. Which is not yet done by anyone yet in the country. And when I say not yet done, meaning not yet attention of many, so to say. So cross-border payment, Forex, recurring and online payment innovations, QR, tons of things. Still, there's a lot to be done. And IoT is one of the biggest things that we have.
Yeah.
How can we propose to Paytm alternative that can we build on top of UPI to handle another NUE to handle 30x scale that we will soon see, ideally outside core banking systems, 4 billion transactions a day? Ramesh Thimana. Ramesh, you're perfectly right. That's exactly how the 30 billion a month will happen. It has to get outside of the core banking system so that the core banking is not bloated and it does not get impacted when the large number of payment requests are being made. So yes, you're right here. And that is how can we propose to Paytm? This is the proposal of Paytm.
Okay. Yeah, true. So Brahmanshu Singh wants to know what is the secret or that Paytm has been such a big success where others have not really made it?
I think the biggest reason have been that we focused on customer workflow instead of what system offers. So we did not give in to that this is how the system is, this is how the system works, you are supposed to work like this, versus we said, no, it has to be done like this. For example, like I give you a simple example here, KK sir, that if you think of a wallet company, they first ask you to add money to the wallet and then say utility payment.
Yes.
Remember 2010, 12, there were many wallet companies and they would say, first top up my wallet, now use this payment instrument to pay the utility. I said, why? We should think of let the customer do the utility payment. And if he wants to make a payment using debit card, credit card, we should allow that. It's incidentally the refund, which was a problem in those days because there was no cycle back in real time and the customer was feeling that what happened to my money. We said, okay, so if this money is now with us, you want to store it in the wallet because we will allow you to use this immediately. That's how the wallet got seeded. It was not how traditional wallet company was built. Traditional wallet company was built, let's create a wallet as an instrument, ask people to top up and then start use casing. So we always built it for consumer first. We always built it and build it for customers' workflow. We don't bother about whether it will mean ABC. Give you another example. We are going to launch a very innovative payment from bank account right now, because we've been able to create fixed deposits for a overflow of payment bank amount. So payment bank now 2 lakh, till yesterday it was 1 lakh rupees limit, were allowed to overflow this money into a super liquid fixed deposit. We call it super liquid because it was 24/7 available for customer. Now, normally it was troublesome that if there is a 1 lakh rupee limit, what would happen to my money? So we said, we'll take you to a higher value system, which is fixed deposit, because it gives you higher yield. Number two, we will not charge you for incoming money or outgoing money to fixed deposit, and it will be 24/7. So we did a lot of plumbing with our banking partners with whom we worked, and the system worked so flawlessly that a lot of people said that, why don't you allow me to create a fixed deposit with a partner bank if you are allowing me to create an overflow money? When we launched this system, Paytm bank's deposit, incidentally, which grew, the created FD grew double the speed of that. Meaning, while we were growing year on year 100% on deposit base, another set of total new money started to come in, which was going in a liquid fixed deposit. And when I say liquid fixed deposit, it's a fixed deposit typically is a term locked in deposit, because you don't take that money out and you are paying the FD breakage fee or something. But we created a system that no. If you are making FD, you're not doing a sin with your money, that you will be penalized if you want to take that money. Surprisingly, just because we allowed a customer to 24/7, any hour of the day and night, to take this money, it became very, very successful. So my signal to Pramanchu, I would say that it is all because that we kept the customer first, and customer is there.
Okay. So, Vijay, that question that wallet was definitely one of the big things that happened, the wallet problem. With the operationalization of CBDC, or controlled digital coin, in the next decade, what will be the impact on things like wallet and other digital payments?
A pay later product. It'll be even more smoother than wallet, because you don't have to think about whether I have money in my bank account or wallet account or not. The pay later, the postpaid, Paytm postpaid, is the smoothest product that we created. You keep paying, and then month end, all combined, and you're done. It doesn't charge you money, it doesn't cost you, and it is at the same point in time, you don't have an obligation of topping up, you don't have an obligation of how much is the money left or not. And it is also a good use case because you can see the month-end budget of what you spent or so on. So I believe after the wallet and the UPI comes the postpaid.
Yeah, my question to you was that even India is thinking of operationalizing the bitcoins, right, in a controlled manner, right?
Oh yeah.
So will that have an impact? That's fine. That's my question.
Oh, okay. Sorry for that. I just heard. A little bit noisy. So Bitcoin ultimately, as a payment system versus an asset class, it has eventually become an asset class because transacting one payment on Bitcoin has become very pricey. It's a lot more costlier and so on. So Bitcoin ultimately now is looked at as an asset class. People want to speculate it, keep it, hold it, just like gold increases value. They believe that Bitcoin will increase the value. So Bitcoin and payment are no more the direct connected words. I would say Bitcoin is a better asset class to be looked at as a better asset class than as a payment method.
Okay.
Digital currency by central bank is something that will be a game changer. Although not Bitcoin, but for example, like in US, the Visa has started to, dollar coin they are using to process the payment. Similarly, in India, RBI is thinking of bringing rupee as a dollar, rupee as a digital currency. Now, if the rupee as a digital currency comes, then there is a lot of blockchaining and the use case and asset. For example, like government can give the money useful to a person only for certain use case. Voila. That can happen. So this digital acceptance infrastructure that we all are building tomorrow can give way to digital rupee. And digital rupee is game changer for economy. because you can do macroeconomic movement by leveraging the digital rupee. Governments can allow money to go for a particular use case and so on.
So would you have a...
I'll bet on digital rupee as a game changer more than Bitcoin only, while Bitcoin is an asset class like no other.
Okay. So will there be a Bitcoin wallet or something?
I think a Bitcoin wallet as an asset class, the problem is that India does not want to legitimize or has yet taken a stand on legitimizing Bitcoin as an asset. So all people do are they are outside India, they're blocking money outside India. So we are still far away from that. But the keyword I'm trying to say is that Bitcoin as an asset class versus digital rupee as a method of payment. Digital rupee will be a game changer journey. It probably will be there in 2025, I'd say, based on what I'm seeing. But the next thing that we were discussing like a few minutes back, how will the 1 billion payment will happen? It will be on the day when digital rupee would have come.
Okay. All right, Vijay, wonderful talking to you. It has been like tremendous. It's 1 hour since we started, and it's just flown away. Just been like it's over 1 hour. It's so informative you've been. There are other questions that people want to ask, but I respect your time, so we can't take any more questions, audience. I would like to invite Mani Mamlan, founder and the CMD of EPS, to give a vote of thanks to Vijay. Yeah, Mani?
Yeah, thanks, Vijay, for coming in. It has been a pleasure listening to you. And I have seen the growth of many of the payment companies all over the world. And when we saw Paytm grow as it is 197 communication, it has been a very, very great happiness for us. And thanks a lot for being here. And at the outset, I have a few words to basically just thank part of the show. Why did we start and where do we start? And we are very happy to have reached the milestone of 150 sessions of the Knowledge Series Banking and Business Dialogue. Incidentally, we started this as a contribution to the banking and financial services fraternity by establishing dialogue with thinkers of the industry and crystallize perspectives that will be useful in adapting to the world that is changing much faster in the payment ecosystem. And when we started this in last year, April 27 to be specific, we never anticipated that we will come this far. This has been possible not by the viewership or the support of friends and my own team, EPS, and I call KK as the Amitabh Bachchan of BBD. Like Amitabh Bachchan for KBC, Amitabh Bachchan of BBD is KK. But for him, I think it would have not been where we are. And we want to acknowledge all of the speakers who have been here, from Mr. Gandhi, Mr. Kannan, Padmanabhan, Ganesh Kumar from the Reserve Bank perspective.
There are so many.
Mr. Murthy, and of course now you, and other speakers who I missed mentioning here, and from the Government of India, Finance Ministry, bankers, thinkers, overseas speakers, from some people who are lords on the Congress House, the House of Lords. So we had a variety of people who were coming on the show, and we created so much of content for every one of you to be using them for useful value. A big thank you to every one of those speakers and participants who participated in the BBD show. And I also basically just like to thank the express of gratitude to all the viewers who have supported us in all the channels, be it YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and support us on LinkedIn as well, and see us where we are today. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you again with another 150 show or 300th show in the near future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you again, and congratulations on 150 sessions. That's quite a number, I must say that. And thank you to the Big B or Big K, as the case may be. Thank you.
I think it's great. It's a team effort, Vijay. I think it's a great team effort led by Mani, and that's possible. It's all about leadership, and there's a big team, good team that we have. It makes it possible to bring it. So with these thank you for all this. With these kind words, let me wind up today's show. Thank you, Vijay, for coming and sharing with us your thoughts. One full hour of excellent discussion, and we will definitely would like to invite you in some other forum, some other kind of discussion on the topic. With these, thank you very much, and thank you very much, audience, for being with us today, also on the 150th show. And look forward to you seeing you in other shows. Good evening, and have a great evening. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.